जय हिंद स्टूडेंट्स। आज हमारे साथ एक बहुत ही ऑनरेबल गेस्ट हैं, कर्नल विवेक सक्सेना रिटायर्ड, जिन्होंने इंडियन आर्मी की आर्टिलरी क्रॉप्स और आर्मी एविएशन क्रॉप्स में अपनी सेवाएं दी है। आज सर के अनुभव से हम जानेंगे कि इंडियन आर्म फोर्सेस एक कैंडिडेट में क्या क्या क्वालिटीज देखती हैं और साथ ही साथ यूथ किस तरीके से इन ऑफिसर लाइक क्वालिटीज को अपने अंदर डेवलप कर सकता है। मैं डिफेंस वाला और फिजिक्स वाला के पूरी फैमिली की तरफ से कर्नल विवेक सक्सेना का स्वागत करता हूं।
Yes. So, I belong to very humble background. In fact, my father, he was a professor, very professor, and I was born in a city known as Mathura, which is very famous for Lord Krishna, right next to Delhi. Yes. So thereafter, in my schooling, I was too much into sports. In fact, I am 3 times national champion of Taekwondo, and I am a district champion of boxing. That was my school days, and thereafter, when I went to Army Public School, I came to know about armed forces. I am totally from a civil background, so I don't know much about I was not aware much about armed forces. I joined Army Public School in year 1994, and thereafter, I came to know about forces. Our principal was a retired colonel from forces, and thereafter, I came to know about forces. So then I decided that I will go into forces. Though I was always attracted towards forces. My house was in cantonment only, so I used to see a lot of movement, lot of VIP movement, lot of equipment moving, and our school was next to the helipad, only helipad in Mathura, so a lot of aircrafts landing and all that stuff. So thereafter, I did my graduation, my BSc, and then I applied for CDS. Okay. This is exam, and I got through in my first attempt, God willing, and thereafter I did some preparation for SSB. From here, say meeting officers who were posted in Mathura, knowing about that, reading some books as online platform was not available. I'm talking on 99. So okay. Yeah, so and I could clear my SSB in the first attempt. I went into Indian Military Academy in January 2000, and I passed out in December 2000. It was a very, very, it was a dream come true to join Indian Military Academy. It's a roller coaster ride as you join Indian Military Academy. Once you both are from, you both know how it happens. Yes, so, when you join, you are like, कि मैं तो बन गया officer, like I am a soldier myself. But once you go there on ground, you are nothing. And you have to work really hard. Though physically I was good, I used to run 8 kilometers a day before joining academy, so running was not a problem for me. But yes, swimming was a problem for me. In fact, I was a perpetual failure in swimming. I barely used to pass. Okay. Then horse riding is one thing, equestrian, which we do, was a problem. Now with these kind of physicals, doing your academics is also a bit of a problem, right? So coping up with the things, getting into the grade of armed forces in that year plus 1.5 years, and then passing out. So I joined Indian Artillery. This is part of Indian Army, wherein you have howitzers, guns, mortars, which fire indirectly into the enemy territory or a particular target. So I joined in a very, very famous area of Northern Command, the Rajouri, Naushera area, and 25 Div as we call it. And then I could learn a lot. Thereafter, I was lucky enough to go into a war-like a situation, which is Parakram, wherein Indian Parliament was attacked, and we had mobilized the whole forces against our Western enemy, against Pakistan. And I was fortunate enough to join that in one of the regions of Punjab. So in Punjab, we had to deploy overnight. We had to prepare our defenses overnight. And one best thing about Punjab is like people of Punjab are very, very helpful. So we could get local resources in setting up our, ammunition dumps, our gun areas, our roads, our tracks. They were guiding us. They were even providing food and shelter and some kind of assistance, physical as well as emotional, as well as coming and talking to you, because you are new to an area, you don't know much. And when you are supposed to belong there and when you are supposed to fight a war, the local population has to be your side. And as luck would have it, we were in Punjab, and Punjab local population was with us. They were very helpful. We could establish ourselves. We are ready to go with, but certain diplomatic, how political things work. We could never cross border, or we could never go for an offensive against our Western enemy. Thereafter, 2 years of served in artillery, and one fine day, as I told you, I am from a civil background, so I was not much aware about how things are happening in Indian Army as well. Till after training, I was not aware what all arms are there. There was no particular mention of Indian Army aviation as such when we were training. So once I came to know, there is the Indian Army aviation wing. There is the arm as such, and it's you can fly, which is always a distant theme of any individual, that I should become a pilot. Everybody wants to become a pilot. At least that was there during 90s. I interacted with a lot of pilots there who were stationed in Batenda, and luck would have it, I got one of the seniors who I still am in touch with him. He helped me out in preparing for the PABT test, pilot aptitude battery test, as well as the medicals, as well as filling up the forms. So we were in constant touch, and I could get through in Indian Army Aviation. That is in 2004. So thereafter, I started on my training. It's a long journey, 1.5 years of in Army aviation training. So I could train myself on one type of fixed wing and three types of helicopters total. So I am I am HPD 32 qualified, which is a fixed wing. I am a Cheetah qualified pilot. I am a Cheetah qualified pilot, and I have the good fortune of being after training, going straight away into advanced light helicopters, which is the ALH, the troops.
Yes, sir.
And I was among the few, only three of us who were selected to go straight away from training to ALH, which is a new aircraft, double engine, 5.5 ton medium light lift capability, but we call it medium in Indian Army perspective because it can carry actually 5.5 tons of load. So carry 14 crew pilots. So that kind of stuff we never had. We had Me 17, Me 30, but Me 17 always with Air Force, never with Indian Army. So I got trained myself in Bangalore along with HAL. The unit was getting great. That is one of the very esteemed unit of Indian Army Aviation. I got trained under very one of the biggest name. I cannot name it here because it's going on internet. But one of the biggest name of Indian Army Aviation, a test pilot, and I'm again indebted to him, who trained me on ALH. From Bangalore, I was there for 1.5 months, 1.5 years, and I got trained in ALH. And thereafter, the whole unit moved to a operational area in Jammu and Kashmir, which is one of a kind. We were supposed to establish a base there, and it was a wonderful journey. We flew equipment. The aircraft flew from Bangalore to Srinagar. There were a lot of manpower and equipment moving by train from Bangalore to Srinagar. So it was a one of a kind of a move which happened in Indian Army history. And we ourselves in Srinagar, we did a lot of operations, starting from you name a thing has been done there, including night CAS evacuation, which is casualty evacuation by night from forward post. So I was instrumental, and I was part of the team who did that. And I am quite proud of myself and the team who was there. We could establish the base and establish ourselves in the in the most VUCA area of Indian Army, which is like very volatile, very uncertain. You can be attacked from anywhere. There are a lot of uncertainties which are there. and we could establish ourselves. And we did a lot of operations. We did a lot of casualty evacuations. We did a lot of communication sorties. We could do a lot of which is known as logistic sorties, wherein you take ammunition, fuel, and a lot of equipment to various far-flung posts where there is no road. Right? So people used to track. They used to carry it on their back or on a horseback, and you used to take 4 days to reach that port. We could reach in 40 minutes. So that was one of the highlights. Thereafter, I moved to Nasik. Did a lot of exercises in Rajasthan, and I was commended there for one of the Kazbek, which I did in night in my tenure in one of the exercises. I got a commendation card there from the Eastern Army Commander at that time. So that is my aviation journey, and thereafter, after almost 10 years in aviation, now it is time to go back to your parent arm, because there is a lot of administrative tasks you have to do, and there is something known as you have to take over command. There's something known as where they have to judge you for your command. So I went back to artillery after doing a 10 years tenure in army aviation. In artillery, I was in the toughest of the operational area, which is the Siachen Glacier and Leh area. And in Leh area, I had a stint of around 2 years, where we could establish ourselves in the most farthest of the places, which is known as DBO. Uh, you would have heard about the post DBO. Then Siachen Base Camp, Siachen Glaciers, our party used to go. I was in the senior profile, so I did not have fortune of walking up to Siachen Glacier. But yeah, during my aviation tenure, I have landed in almost all helipads of Siachen Glacier. So, so that was how it is. And thereafter, I moved to Agartala. There was again, I was second in command, and I moved to Kolkata here today, where I am, and from where I had hung my uniform, and I have hung my boots. In Kolkata, it was more of a human resource related task position, wherein you have to take care of a particular sector in Kolkata, wherein you manage the sector, human resource operations, the security aspects, as well as there was a new challenge which has come up, COVID-19. So so it is different from other organizations, armed forces. How armed forces are different from other organizations, wherein in other organizations uh, you can go work from home, you can go online. Armed forces job is cannot never go online. We don't have any off, right? So if I am not there, somebody else is there to man my post. Same way, to maintain an operational tempo in COVID-19 with that kind of restrictions was a big challenge. And with God grace and kind of planning and the good team we had, we could take it forward. We could train our troops. We could send them to operational areas. We can get them back from leave, quarantine them, make them ready again for a lot of planning and deliberation went into that. And finally, we could get through that 1.5 years of wherein everybody was worried. We had for certain incidents of COVID-19. We lost a few boys also to COVID-19, but yes, it was not as grave as it was there in outside world, because we could seclude ourselves. We had the ability to totally shut ourselves, shut our gates, and we could keep the virus at bay. Though nobody can keep virus at bay, but at least we can keep it to the minimum. So we could manage, getting everything, which is including the food stuff, sanitizing it, and then so there was a total supply chain which was modified in Indian Army. It happened in each and every base of Indian Army, and with the able leaders, senior leaders, and juniors like me working on ground, maintaining that was a big challenge, and we could actually do it. So now coming to challenges I faced during the whole tenure. I served for Indian Army less my training tenure. at 21 years and 3 months. And I retired on 19th of March, which is like not even a month from now,
Yes.
like 20 days. Uh, there are a lot of challenges to be very, very nice.
But sir,
One challenge I would, sorry.
before this, you tell us about your challenges.
Yeah.
There is one question like you were an aspirant or you were a student in school. हेलीकॉप्टर्स देखते थे हेलीपैड पे लैंड होते हुए. उसके बाद you were a gentleman cadet IMA में, and then your glorious service of 20 plus years in the army. So, like, what were the core qualities or the things which remained same throughout being a student in school, college, then training, and then in service? Like, which things remained same or which kept you motivated through and through?
Okay. So, Nakul and Pratmesh, one thing is very clear. When we get through SSB, they check you for never say die attitude. Like you never give up. All
Right.
these GQ tasks and all these psychometric evaluations for that. And I guess, I don't know what my evaluation was, but when in my childhood, I lost my father when I was 10 years old. Okay, so it was a big challenge for my mother, for me, for my, for my brothers and sister, that, how to, now take it forward. We never gave up. And my mother, being our strength today, she's staying with me and, she's always our strength. Uh, that one quality which we all three of us got was to never give up. Difficulties will come. You will have uphills, you will have downhills. Life is like, a sinusoidal curve, AC/DC current wala, it
Right.
goes up and goes down. But always one has to remember that if something is going down, it'll come up. It can't go worse, right? So you have to keep working and you have to keep improving yourself. So one quality which Nakul asked right now, the question was, what one quality you can, or what qualities you can say if it never change in your life is, I would say ki once I was a student, once I was a child, or maybe in armed forces. One thing is like a challenge which comes gives me fuel. So it's like a fuel in fire. So that fire in your belly should never die down. I am 43 plus today, and that fire is still burning. I taken this plunge, going to civil street, going to corporate, maybe having your own, being an entrepreneur. It's a very difficult decision, being in that system for 21 years and then going out. But my fire was there, and I could see I'm more going into administrative roles now because of my senior profiles and not being on top of things, not in going into straight away into all operations, which was always there, which was my aim of getting into armed forces, was to be in the helm of the affairs and being on top of the things. So today, when I see myself, I took this plunge because I was aware that I will be going more into administrative kind of a desk job kind of a role. So I took that plunge. So the fire in the belly should never die down. And I tell each and every guy, students, my cousins, the younger children, my own son, even my juniors who are there in the armed forces who keep talking to me, that the fire in your belly should not die down. If it is dying down, you have to provide that fuel. That fuel is motivations, being self-motivated to do whatever you like, and you should enjoy what you like. You should enjoy what you do. Suppose you like something, you like cycling. So you enjoy cycling. So you should not let that thing die in you. Like I like driving, I started driving when I was 8 years old, but I could not drive later on once. So I have driven my own car from Hyderabad to Leh. So, and from Bangalore to Srinagar. So these kind of distances I have covered in 4 5 days. So, but you know, still, if you ask me, I can drive 12 hours a day with one or two breaks. That's it. So that fire in your belly should never die down. You should enjoy each and every moment. Ups and downs will always be there. You might not be doing well sometimes. Your health must be an issue. Your family's health might be an issue. You might be down with not doing good in your life. but it never remains constant. The one thing which is constant is change. You know,
Right.
things keep changing. So, but you have to keep working on yourself. You have to keep motivating yourself, keep pushing yourself. If you can't push yourself, nobody else can push. Actually, there are people who need help. Yeah, right. I understand, but you know, if you can push yourself, nothing like it. Nobody else can push as strong as you can push yourself. So, you know, right now you guys are in front of me. You know, coming out of academies is a big setback in one's life when it is a dream. But still, you have pushed yourself. You become entrepreneurs, and you're doing exceptionally well. That is one example I can quote right now in front of me. You know, pushing yourself, not crying on the past, and looking forward, which I call it forward looking, and working towards yourself to actually achieve your goal. So one should have, you know, very short-term goals and long-term goals. But I more emphasize on short-term goals because the short-term goals are the one which propels you to work hard. You know, long-term goals, everything. It might be money, it might be fame, it might be, you know, you doing well in your life, you having good relations with your family or with your friends or with your, you know, wives or someone. But what I'm saying is short-term goal is very important because actually that if you see some right in front of you, like we do it in our races or normal sprints, 100-meter, 200-meter, if you see the finish line and you see you are the first, you automatically increase your speed.
Right.
So the short-term goals are very important. If in a marathon you don't see the finish line, so you have to plan very deliberately from your first step till the last step. But in sprints, which are like 100-meter sprints or 200-meter sprint, when you see the finish line and you see कि एक ही बंदा मेरे आगे, or maybe you know I am the first one to go, you will increase, you will perform much more better than what you performed last time. So that is one thing, you know, I keep very short-term goals for myself, 2 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years kind of goals, and try to achieve them or maybe surpass my own standards in achieving those short-term goals. So it's like small steps towards success.
So, sir, like you mentioned, you like to drive. So, how was it like different from flying hepters and then sitting in your car and driving slowly, passing through the traffic?
Okay.
I'm sure it was like
Yeah.
difficult for you to.
Yeah. So Nakul, that's a wonderful question. In fact, you know, I was driving is like my first love. Before my first girlfriend, I had my car and not my car, but my brother's car, and I used to love driving. So it is my first girlfriend. So you can say my first love. So it never fades out of my life. Though being in air is a different experience altogether. When you fly in air, it's a straight line. You draw a straight line in the map and you reach point A to point B. But in road, you know, you take all the windings and you take all the turns. Both cannot be compared, can be compared in the sense like, you know, in hepter flying or maybe aircraft flying, you have to be totally on the ball, which like, you know, you cannot relax all the time. You see a lot of videos, you see a lot of people talking about autopilot, pilots ki zarurat nahi hai. But the pilot is monitoring that computer which is running that autopilot system, which is running that aircraft. So a pilot is always sitting on the edge of his chair because it is not only his or her life, it's the life of passengers who are sitting there, the mission he is undergoing. So that is one thing. And, you know, so, but both are different. But still, if you ask me, you know, my first love was driving, my second love is flying. So I'm maintaining both the girlfriends. So, so it's like that. Yeah.
तो सर इन कंटिन्यूएशन टू दिस मैं एक चीज और पूछूंगा हम तीनों को एक चीज हमेशा याद रहेगी हमारी लाइफ में जब हमने फर्स्ट टाइम राइफल से बुलेट फायर करी थी और उसकी साउंड हमारे राइट ईयर में अभी तक भी सुनती है सभी को सो लाइक हाउ वाज योर एक्सपीरियंस एंड व्हिच ऑल वेपन्स वर यू फॉर्चुनेट टू यूज ड्यूरिंग द ट्रेनिंग और इवन आफ्टर दैट
Okay, so Nakul, as I told you, training is similar in OTA, IMA, NDA, wherever you go. So the firing we did there was in SARS and you know that old rifles which were there. and rocket launchers. Yes,
Right.
ATG, yes, two, and grenades. That is basic platoon weapon training which we undergo during our, academy days. And obviously 9mm pistol and light machine gun, the 7.62
And
light
carbine.
carbines, 9mm carbine. So this was basic. Once I joined the unit, so we had AK-47, AK-56, AK-60, 102. It was always with my commanding officers, QRT, and
Right.
we had a revolver also. We had a shotgun. We had a double barrel shotgun for, if you go in jungles, so that the front guys who are known as leads or who are known as scouts, they carry this shotgun because they have to fire immediately and they have to fire in it. They can't take aim and fire because they are first one to contact any enemy or any terrorist who is coming. So we had that kind of gun. Then I was in a post in Notera. I had a fortune of firing the sniper, the Dragunov, which we say. I fired the anti-tank grenade launchers, the ATGMs, which are there. I fired the Russian anti-aircraft gun on the ground roll, which is known as PK. The short form is PK. It is an anti-aircraft Russian gun used on the tanks, but now we have that in our post, which is across the LC. So I had the fortune of firing that. Then I had fired the laser guided missile, which is used in T-90 tanks. And I have fired, these are the small weapons you can say uh, from artillery point of view. I have fired 105 mm Indian field gun, 105 mm light field gun, then 160 mm Tempela mortars, then 130 mm mortars which are there, light mortars, light howitzers. Then I did not had the fortune of firing Bofors, but I fired 130 mm medium guns. And I have driven the Shaktiman, that old fame Shaktiman, the 5 tonners, the 4 tonners, the Karaz, which is the Russian towing vehicle. Then I have driven the Scania. I have driven one of the tanks and the BMPs. So, choda nahi jo bhi mila. So I have done that. So it's like that, Though because I like driving, so I used to tell my drivers, so you sit on the side. I've driven gypsies, jeeps, jongas, 1 tonners during my young days, and then now, all these modern equipments I have driven. So I like driving, and that too in terrains like snowy terrain as well as terrains like Rajasthan, where you are stuck in sand. So we have 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, sir, one question I want to ask you. आज के स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं वो बहुत प्रेशर में रहते हैं, so how you handle the pressure? फोर्सेस के अंदर, जैसे नकुल सर भी जानते हैं, हम सभी ने फेस किया कि बहुत सिचुएशंस ऐसी आती हैं जहां पर आपको अपने आप को कंट्रोल करना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी होता है. सो हाउ यू कंट्रोल दैट प्रेशर, हाउ यू कंट्रोल दैट सिचुएशन, अपनी बॉडी को, अपने माइंड को आप कैसे कंट्रोल करते थे?
Yeah, pressure comes to someone when he is ill prepared.
Yeah, true.
If you are going for an exam or if you are going for something, and if you don't have preparation, you don't have confidence, you will be under pressure.
Exactly, sir. Exactly.
See, because today it was a meeting and, I prepared myself for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I can speak impromptu, but still, that thing has to be there. So pressure, the best way of releasing pressure is to prepare yourself really well. Each and every aspect of preparation, be it the exam, be it, facing a new individual, facing an interview for a job, or, going for a competitive exam, or going for something new, which like you want to go for a trekking. So you should be prepared. You should be physically well to do. You should have the equipment with you. You should be knowing the route. You should know how to survive in that kind of equipment. You should have that kind of terrain. You should have water with you. You should have ropes, knife. So you will not be under pressure. If you don't have anything, then you will be always under pressure. So the pressure, nobody else can give you pressure or take off pressure from you. You are the one who can take off or give yourself pressure. In forces, we have a lot of incidents wherein we are caught off guard. But the training, like they say, you sweat in peace so that you bleed less in war. you sweat more in peace so that you bleed less in war. The saying is very, very correct, with very pertinent in any field. If you prepare yourself very well for any event which is coming in your future, then you will be in that less pressure. That pressure of performance will always be there, and that should be there so that you perform. But pressure of not knowing a question which is out of syllabus or you not studied is will not be there, and you can actually do really well. And you can, if you are not under pressure, you can think rationally and you can do really well.
Exactly.
Right, sir. So, sir, like in continuation, you were a student you were studying in Mathura. So, like, what was your mental psyche before writing the exam, or when you wrote the exam and result is about to come? So, those 1 or 2 month period, what all you were going through, or your physical training, how physical training sports is related to army life or life in armed forces?
See, Nakul, one thing is very clear. Like when I was a young child and till my graduation, I never took pressure of studies. My mother still says कि ये तो कभी पढ़ता नहीं था, pass कैसे हो गया? And I was always throughout first division. Not that I am very brainy, but you have to be smart about it, right? You like today's exams and all, people are mugging up. You have to smart कि question आने क्या वाला है, and you have to do that. So same way I used to study, 2 to 3 days prior to my exam and used to pass that. Same way when I prepared for SSB, because this was make and break, I started my preparation for 3 months before that. Physical preparation, I did very less physical preparation, more of that GTO task preparation, because I was into physicals and I was on my peak of my taekwondo career. I was a national champion when I joined academy. So physically, I didn't had to prepare for joining academy. SSB doesn't demand that much of physical stuff. So, but yeah, emotionally, mentally, I had to prepare myself for three months, because no, that time 1999, 98, people were not aware what exactly is the schedule of events in SSB, what will happen in SSB, what are they looking for, and not that much of internet available, so you are not looking for that news. You have to read the newspaper to be on the GK. So I prepared for 3-4 months for my CDS exam, and I could clear it. Then for SSB again 3-4 months I got, because I gave my exam before my BSc got over. So my once my result was out, I got my SSB call letter, and I had to prepare for 3-4 months. Prepare in the sense, I got a book from Delhi. I used to read that book. Then I used to meet the officers, come to young officers who got just got commissioned. So I used to chalk out my day, like I had to practice for 7 hours for taekwondo, and out of 7 hours I took off 1 hour, 6 hours of practice, 4 hours of studies for SSB preparations. So I could make it 10 hours in a day I had to prepare. So I always believe there is no substitution of hard work. So you have to work hard for anything, which you guys have also done, there is no substitution for hard work. If you say ki aise karke, we are not born with spoons wherein our ancestors had left that money for us. But you can get money, you can get everything, but you will not get that satisfaction if you don't work hard. You see leaders there today, and maybe entrepreneurs, maybe the business tycoons. They also work for 14 to 15 hours a day, because they might be at top of their company, but they still work for 15-16 hours a day. So there is no substitute for hard work. Yeah.
Sir, any message for our youth? Actually, nowadays they are not able to focusing. There are so many things which distracting them. So they are very confused at how they can develop the officer-like qualities. So any suggestion from you?
Okay. The message is very clear. Keep your phone away. Don't be on WhatsApp. Focus on, going back to basics. Reading the newspaper, editorial columns. Interacting with humans have stopped because of WhatsApp and social media. Interacting with humans, you learn a lot. interact with people who can teach you. You know, you learn something, you teach them something. So you learn from everyone. PS, come to basics, do a lot of physical activities, because physical activity, youngsters are away from physical activities these days. Physical activities not only build muscles or build your stamina, but they actually open up your brain. You know, you are always agile in your brain in thinking. So, and gives you that relaxation during night. You sleep well. So that physical activity is important. Have good food, junk food. You can cut out junk food, and uh, to cope up with the, to motivate or to cope up with pressure, is to work hard with your academics, maybe with your physics or something. You know, you have to work hard. There is no substitute to hard work. If you can do that, you will get success. People are succeeding. You know, we have very, very, very big success stories from India or abroad. Indians doing wonderful abroad also. Most
So
6 to 7 CEOs are, Indian.
it was lovely interacting with you, sir. So much, so many like insight and information for our like community of defense aspirants. We would like to like connect to you again. If
Yeah, yeah. Anytime, Nakul, and thank you so much, though the time is very less.